Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you. I am Apostle Benjamin Gaines. I am the pastor of Yahweh's Transitional Church. And I want to say I'm definitely proud to be here on today. And I'm really, really, really happy. And I'm just in, my state of being grateful a lot of times and thankful. How about that? We are so busy complaining that we never decide to give thanks, and like the old folks used to say back in the day, it could have been worse. And you don't want to hear that when you're going through things. And it's like, man, you mean to tell me there's a worse to go through? And definitely there is. And the word of the Most High says, in everything, give thanks. For this is the will of El and Christos Yehoshua concerning you. And so I must say thank you to the Most High. And even with everything that I would have complained about, there were some things that He helped me overcome when I didn't realize I was overcoming. So I'm grateful for that. I'm going to start off with a prayer and give the Most High thanks because He's so gracious and so kind. Thank you, Lord, for blessing us to be here on today. I thank you for this ministry. I thank you for the gift of ministry, Lord. I thank you because of who you are and what you do, Father. We ask that this Bible study will serve its purpose, Lord, that it will bless somebody's heart and enhance their understanding in ways that they did not understand before. So, Father, as we begin this Bible study, we ask that your word be upon it, Lord, that your spirit be upon it, that your people be glorified and edified. For your word says, if my people who are called by my name, Lord. So even those that need to find you and understand your name, we understand when we do find your name, we find the strong tower, Lord. And when we run into it, we are therefore saved. So bless this Bible study. Those that will come on, those that will listen at a later time, even if no one comes on, Lord, I'm not alone, for you are here with me, Lord. And I thank you for all things. And again, as your word says, in everything, I give thanks. So we're going to take a look at what was going on the last times that we were here. We talked about the King Saul, who was meant to be the demise of Israel because they had to have a king to be like the other people, and they demanded that Samuel, who was their leader, spiritual leader, um, would find them a king. And Samuel was upset because he felt like it's good enough as it is. And I'm hearing directly from the Lord. And, it's no need to have a king. And sometimes people just want to have what they want to have, regardless of anything of that sort. People just want to have things your way. Like the Burger King slogan says, have it your way, and not have it the right way or anything else. I just want it my way. And so this is how they were. And so the Lord said to Samuel, He said, they're not denying you, they're denying the me inside of you. So what I want you to do is, give them a king, but you let them know that the king that they have is going to be the worst thing that happened to them. And so this king started off humbly because he didn't think that he deserved to be a king. However, everything that goes up comes down. And when Saul got into his ways, or his name is Shaul in Hebrew, which means asked or demanded, because they demanded a king. And he came into his stature and began to get very arrogant and forgot about the ways of the Most High. And then he became evil because that was an appointment that the Lord had put on his life because of Israel's demise. However, the Lord did give Saul an option to do the right thing, and Samuel was there to advise him of the other options that he was able to take, as opposed to following the path that the enemy wanted him to choose. And Saul got to a place that he not um, only was a big boaster and a bragger, but he was also a punk. Like he was a big and valiant looking man and everything. But when it came to the Philistine giant Goliath, all of Israel was in fear of him. And Saul was the type of man that it really didn't matter to him because he wasn't about family anymore. He was about Saul. Saul even offered money and bribes to the people for whoever can kill this Philistine giant, even if you go out and risk your life. If you do escape and come back without any limbs or anything else, I'll give you tax free and I'll even prostitute my daughter in marriage for you. So Saul was pretty much pimping his daughter as a bribe to any man that wanted to do so. And that's how you see that he wasn't really a good father either. Anybody that can offer their daughter as if she's property as opposed to your daughter, then you know that their fatherhood is not where it needs to be at. And that's what Saul was. However, David was one of Jesse's sons, Jesse had 8 sons. David was number 8, and 7 of the other sons went to Samuel because the Lord said, I'm going to find a king, a new king, because Saul disobeyed the Lord. See, so I'm going to find one that is better than this man, and he will be after my own heart, meaning he will follow my directives. And David was a shepherd boy. After Samuel went to Jesse's house, which is David's father, he looked through all the 7 boys, and even though they looked good and their stature was everything else like that, the Lord didn't choose them. He told Samuel that another one, and surely there was David who was tending to the sheep because he was a shepherd. And the Lord said, that's the one. And so now David was anointed to be king, but not until Saul's reign was over. Saul had an evil spirit, a possession of an evil spirit that would jump on him. And the only thing that was able to calm him down was music. As you hear, there is music in the background because it soothes the atmosphere. David played the harp or the lyre, as many may say, and it soothed Saul. So he stayed at the house of Saul to play for him whenever those evil spirits got upon him. It came to pass that before this time, uh, uh, Jesse sent David to his brothers who were already in the army and told them to bring them food and bring back a word of how they're doing and everything. And so David went, and here's Goliath. Now, the Goliath came up like twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, to torment the Israelites and let them know, like, I despise your God. I despise your God. And as David went to get word from his brothers, were the ones that were saying that, why are you here? Like, I know your arrogant self, you down here to show your face and see what's going on. When actually there was nothing going on because everybody was running from Goliath whenever he came out, including Saul. But David was like, who was this uncircumcised Philistine? Now, uncircumcised, that was not like a diss, but that's how the Israelites identified one another. They were circumcised. And so he was like, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that is, speaking bad about the God that I serve? And we have to understand that David was fearless, but he was fearless because of the Most High. He was not fearless because of, I'm just not afraid of Saul. I'm not afraid to stand up in the name of the Lord that I serve. And that is one of the reasons why David was able to stand up to everything, because he stood up in the name of the Lord. So David now goes out to fight the Philistine giant that nobody else can fight. He goes up and stands against them that nobody else was able to come up to. And he struck him down with a stone and a slingshot. Now, as Saul celebrated coming back home, the people were shouting, Saul has slain his 1,000 and David his 10,000, because they multiplied what Goliath was. So Saul got jealous. So he hated David afterward, because he was like, what else does he want? My kingdom? And David didn't ask for any glory. He was fighting for the Lord. And sometimes we have to look at in life, when you come out to do what the Lord has called you to do, people are going to think that you want what they have, even though most of the time what they have is not worth wanting. But when that's their mindset, that you want that jealousy factor, it's because they're not really hating on you. They are hating you. They're hating you because they love you. They want what you have. They want the ability, or they wish that I could have done this. They wish I could have gotten the recognition, or I could have, the Lord could have been displayed through me the way He is through you. And you're not doing it for show. You're doing it for Him. And this was Saul's attitude. Saul was like, why can't they cheer me on like that? Why did they say that I only slayed 1,000, or my thousands, and David 10,000s? So it is how it is. But all this time, he's been trying to kill David, even when he was in the house, planned the harp for him, and he even made him, because he did win the battle, he gave him his daughter, and he also, grace, mercy, and peace be unto you. He gave him his daughter, as was promised, that anyone that was able to kill the giant would get his daughter, which I feel is prostitution. He prostituted his daughter for the victory over Goliath, and David was the one who won the battle. So he ended up having Saul's daughter, and I really hate the fact that that happened that way, because it shows how people did back in the day. You use your children as property. It's pretty much pimping, because he was the king. And now Saul, before I ask the next question, like I wondered this earlier, Saul makes David the head of his army. Now, even though he hated David the way that he did, he made him the head of his army. And I wonder, like, why would you actually make him the head of your army if you hate him the way that you do? And, one might think that maybe he just wanted to let the people see that he was more graceful than he was, or he wasn't the bad person that he set out to be, or that they already knew that he was. And I thought maybe he sat up there to get David killed. Maybe he put him on as the lead, so he can lead himself right into his own demise. Who's to say with a spirit like that, when you hate somebody, what you would do to have them killed? And so, yes, I put him up there and I promoted him and I did this and that, but unfortunately, he died on the battlefield. That's an easy way to get out of what Saul may have done. If that were the case, who's to say? But if you look at it that way, you'll look further down. David did the same thing when he became the king. His servant Uriah, after David slept with his wife Bathsheba, he had his trusted servant that was ahead of his army. He got his wife pregnant. Bathsheba was Uriah's wife, and David got her pregnant, and she could not say no to having, sexual relationships with him, because he's the king. So she got pregnant, and David tries to take Uriah, her husband, and make him come over and have him get drunk. And then he says, oh, well, now go home and make love to your wife, so that if she got pregnant, she could say she was pregnant by Uriah. But his heart was with his people. He was like, no, my people are out there fighting and losing their lives, and I cannot be here drinking and celebrating when they're out there losing their wives. I want to go and I want to fight with them like I'm supposed to do. And David insisted over and over again, but his heart was where it was at. So he left and he went back on the battlefield. So David had a plan that I'm going to tell the people in my army to put him by the closest place where he can get hurt, get killed, put him on the front line by the wall, so that we can say he just got overcome by the people. And that's how David had him killed. So the same spirit that was on Saul was transferred to David's attitude. And this is why we have to watch who we serve under, because those same killing spirits that you ran away from will be the same killing spirits that you have someone running away from. And that's never taught in the ecclesia or the church, that the same way that you have those spirits, the same mindset that you have that is going to kill somebody, the same problems that you ran away from and was hurt from, you become the problem for someone else. I'm going to go to First Samuel chapter 19. Again, grace, mercy, and peace. Sister Minister Larkin, thanks for joining us. Saul
Grace
told
and
his
mercy
son,
and peace.
yes, ma'am. Um, Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. So now you see where Saul's mind is at. But Jonathan had taken a great liking to King David, to David, I'm going to say David, and warned him. Oh my Lord, this music is going louder. And told him, my father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning and go into hiding and stay there. And I will go out. I don't know if she went out on purpose. Let me see if she wanted to, but alrighty. Well, let's start all over again. Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill
Were you
David,
talking
but
about
Jonathan
me?
had taken a great. Yes, ma'am.
Were you talking about me?
I don't know if that was intentional. Yes, I didn't know if that was intentional or whether it was my technology.
No, no. I'm in bad area. I'm traveling, so it's
Okay,
a little
no
bit
problem.
choppy.
Gotcha. Gotcha. My father is looking to kill you, or looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning and go into hiding and stay there. And I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. And I'll speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out. So you see, Saul plots to murder David. And attempting to do this, he wanted the help of the people that fought along with David, you know, and his son Jonathan, who took a great liking to David. So imagine with the king is telling you to help kill the people that uh, the person, I say that fought with you and actually helped win battles and save your lives. Saul wants you guys to help kill him. And Saul put Jonathan in a difficult place, and Jonathan loved David. And Yahuwah made a wonderful bond and friendship between Jonathan and David. So imagine Jonathan's heart, because he said he loved him as his own soul. Jonathan knew that David was destined to be the king of Israel. That's a tough point right there. And even though Jonathan was officially supposed to be crowned the prince because he was King Saul's son, at the same time, his father told him to kill David. Jonathan was like, I want the Lord's will to be done where this is concerned. You know what I mean? I know the Lord has appointed you to be king, even though hereditarily I'm supposed to be. And so every time that Jonathan stood up uh, for David, it wasn't just because I think he was cool with me, but I want to follow the Lord's will. And if I stand in the way and try to be the king, then I'm taking away the will of the Lord, because he appointed David to be the king after you. So imagine someone who loves someone that much that they would turn away their position as the prince, turning to a king to give it to David. So you see, Jonathan was trying to help. And although he was supposed to be king, he knew that David was now supposed to be the king. He knew that in his heart and in his spirit. Because if you look at it, Jonathan was hated by Saul. He was jealous. Saul was jealous of Jonathan. and he tried to kill Jonathan the same way he tried to kill David, the same way he acted to David, he had already been acting to Jonathan. That's the type of person that Saul was. And so it says, thus Jonathan spoke well of David to his father and said to him, let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his works have been very good towards you. For he took his own life into his hands and killed the Philistine, and the Lord brought about a great deliverance for all Israel. And you saw it and you rejoiced. Why then will you sin against innocent blood to kill David without any cause? And so now we see that operative word is sin. So Saul was sinning, trying to kill David, because what he was doing was going to knock the Lord's will that David be the king after him out of place. And once again, not just because of that, because David didn't do anything to Saul. And Jonathan keeps saying, like you saw when he killed Goliath, the king that you couldn't kill, and you rejoiced. But now that you're jealous of him, you want him dead. We have to watch also those things in ministry, because people are glad to have you along as long as you make them look good. When you're making them look good, then everything is cool. But once you find your independence in the Lord, and once you find out that you are not supposed to stay in a place but to go therefore and teach all nations, then people that felt like you belonged to them will be upset about you going forth to do the will of the Lord. And then all of a sudden you become the enemy. And when you start seeking the Lord on your own, as opposed to being in bondage to what people say you should think and how you should feel and all those different types of things, then they want to be upset with you when you're not always around. They want to be upset with you when you have a question that says, well, when I studied the word of the Lord, I found this out, which goes kind of, I need to know if you can make clarity because it's not lining up with what we were taught. Then you become the rebellious one. And that's what your shepherd is supposed to do. The Bible says, rightly dividing the word of truth. And so if I don't have the right to ask questions because it's not what you teach, or maybe what you're not understanding, I become wrong. No, it shouldn't be that way. And he said, being you being a king, if I can tell you, and I know how much you've been hating me and trying to kill me and stuff like that, that you're sinning and he's not sinning against you. Jonathan's heart was really for David because he risked his life saying that, you know? And so Jonathan called out the sin of Saul and in killing David. Verse 6 says, and Saul listened to Jonathan and took this oath: as surely as the Lord, or Adonai, lives, David will not be put to death. So Saul could have said, let me do what I do. I'm the one who's the king, because that's his attitude anyway. But the voice of Elohim spoke through Jonathan the same way that it spoke through Samuel. And Saul could not avoid hearing the voice of the Lord. And he submitted the way that he submitted when Samuel spoke to him. So it's not what Jonathan said. Saul already knew that. But when he heard the voice of the Lord coming through Jonathan, then he had to submit to what Jonathan was saying. Again, as I taught before, that terminology, abracadabu, or as the magicians took it to sorcery, abracadabra, it means I create as I speak. And surely when the Lord speaks through us, there are things that are created. There are things that are created. So now Jonathan was able to speak from the Lord, because Elohim is a spirit. A spirit needs a body to operate. And so the Most High used Jonathan's body for his spirit to speak to Saul. For his spirit to speak to Saul. Okay? And this is how the enemy is able to calm down. If we allow the Most High to work through us, then we can calm the spirit of the enemy. And so he has to come under subjection to the voice of the Lord, not to what I said, not to my spirit. Sometimes I can't calm myself. But if the Lord takes control, then he can control the things that I have no control over. Remember, when David went to fight Goliath, he said, the Lord is going to win this battle. It wasn't him, it was the Lord. So Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation, and he brought him to Saul, and David was with Saul as before. So things are cool now. But once more, a war broke out, and David went out and fought the Philistines. And he struck them with so much force that they fled before him. And so this reignites Saul's jealousy. Once again, this kid is out here winning victories on the battlefield that the enemies that I was afraid of are running from him. That's why the word says the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe, because we can't say that we're safe because we're under leaders. And I'm not speaking against leaders because I'm one. But not everyone in the front is a leader. They're just in the front. And pretty much in the front means you are front. But an evil spirit from the Lord came on Saul, and he was sitting in his house with the spear in his hand. And while David was playing the lyre, Saul tried to pin him to the wall with the spear. But David eluded him as Saul drove the spear into the wall. Imagine you're playing music and a valiant fighter as Saul throws a spear at you while you're playing, trying to cool their soul, trying to soothe their soul by what you do. Who's to say how tired David may have been coming from the battlefield and then have to play the harp for Saul? But that spirit of Saul was uncontrollable, uncontrollable. And so when you look at it, um, it shows how Saul now the jealousy was reignited, and David goes out and he does what the Lord has anointed him to do. And while the evil spirit, I want to just stress this, it says from the Lord. It didn't say of the Lord. From the Lord means the Lord gave it permission to be. Of the Lord means is his spirit. The Lord's spirits are not evil. So let's not misconstrue that. It said an evil spirit from the Lord came upon Saul while he was sitting in his house. Okay, let's not ever misconstrue that, because people think that when that verse comes through, that it's saying the Lord has evil spirits, and that's not the case. It says from him. And Saul sent men to David's house to watch it and to kill him in the morning. But Michal, David's wife, Saul's daughter, warned him, if you don't run for your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed. So Michal let David down through the window, and he fled and escaped. And Michal took an idol that and laid it on the bed, covering it with a garment and putting goat's hair on the head of it. When Saul sent his men to capture David, Michal said, he is ill. Then Saul sent back his men to see David and told them, bring him up to me in his bed that I might kill him. But when the men entered, there was the idol in the bed, and at the head was the goat's hair. The crazy thing is, Saul wanted to see David on his sick bed. I want to see him in the worst place possible. Do you ever understand that sometimes people don't care what position you in when they want to kill you. I'm already ill. Bring him in the bed while he's sick so I can kill him because I want him dead that bad. What a spirit. What a spirit. And Saul said to Michal, why did you deceive me like this and send my enemy away so that he escaped? My enemy. Well, since when did David become the enemy? And Michal told him, he said to me, let me go away. Why should I kill you? And Michal acts according to the principles of Genesis 22 and 24. I had 2 and 24. It says, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife so they may become one flesh. And through that passage, it speaks that the principles apply to both partners in the marriage. Okay, that form a family loyalties go before obligations as the daughter. That means she was supposed to be his covering. And that's exactly what she did. She covered her husband and told him to flee while my father. But if the word says you should leave your father and mother. While my father is trying to kill my husband, I'm going to stand up for my husband and help him live. That's why we need to know the name of that book, Genesis. Better see, in the beginning. First things first. It begins with home. Home is the first ministry. Home is the first obligation. Marriage was the first ministry. Not church, not assemblies or anything else like that. Husband and wife. And so because people forget to understand that loyalty is what it is supposed to be just that. I should go and cover the one that I took a vow to. That I took a vow to. And it has to be that way. And so this is what Michal was utilizing. And he said, why should I kill you? Let's explain that very quickly. Why should I kill you? To avert Saul's anger from herself, she pretended that David had threatened her for her life unless she facilitated his escape. So she wanted Saul to think that David made me do it, because otherwise Saul would have tried to kill her too. And this is how Saul was. And when David had fled and made his escape, he went to Samuel at Ramah and told him that all that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there. And word came to Saul, David is in Naioth at Ramah. So he sent men to capture him. But when they saw a group of prophets prophesying with Samuel standing there as their leader, the spirit of Elohim came on Saul's men, and they also prophesied. This is the strength of the Most High that was on Samuel. That when the enemies and the people of Saul, the enemies of David and the people of Saul came around while they were prophesying, they too started prophesying. And Saul was told about it. And so he sent more men, and they prophesied too. And Saul sent again a third time men, and they also prophesied. Okay, we know that number 3 is divine completion. It was divinely put that when they came to kill the Lord's anointed, that they were going to get in the ways of the Lord because of Samuel's spirit and David's call. Sometimes we have to take this as a word of encouragement. No matter where you're at or what you're running from, when when the enemy gets around the people of the Most High, he cannot penetrate. He cannot operate. He cannot facilitate. He cannot demonstrate. And so when you're around the people of the Most High, when you're there while they're operating, You better understand that you may be overtaken with the spirit of the Most High too, because there's a reason why they call him Most High. Because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And when we realize that, I can't do anything against the spirit of the Lord, then maybe we'll calm down. I wish I was able to break for questions or anything else like that, but I'm just going to keep on moving further. And finally, he himself left for Ramah. Like some people say, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. So Saul was like, you know what? If I sent 3 companies of men down there and they still weren't able to do it, I'm going to go down there myself. So finally, he himself left out for Ramah, where David was, and went to the great cistern at Seku. And he asked, where is Samuel and David? Over in Naioth at Ramah, they said. And so Saul went to Naioth in Ramah, but the spirit of Elohim came on him, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth and stripped him of his garments, and he too prophesied in Samuel's presence. And he lay naked all day and all night. And this is why people say, is Saul also among the prophets? So you see, Saul was the killer. He was the one to send out the armies and stuff like that. And he felt like these fools can't handle anything. Let me go do it myself. But the same spirit of the Most High that overtook his armies, his 3 companies, overtook him too, and he got naked all day and all night. That's how powerful the spirit of the Most High is. If I were to bring up Elisha when he the strength of the Lord is, even on a corpse, it was able to bring back people to life. That's the type of effectiveness that I want the Lord to put in me, that I can effect something or resurrect something that has otherwise felt dead. I don't even know that I can handle anything like that. But if the Lord can use me, I sure would love to be used. So I'm going to go, so we have a little more time left. I'm going to go to chapter 20 because it goes a little further than that. And then David fled from Naioth at Ramah, and he went to Jonathan and asked, what have I done? And what is my crime? And how have I wronged your father that he is trying to kill me as he is? And never, Jonathan replied, you are not going to die. Look at my father. Look, my father isn't going to do anything, um, great or small, without letting me know. So why would he hide this from me? It isn't so. But David took an oath and said, and but David took an oath and said, your father knows very well that I have found favor in your eyes. And he has said to himself, Jonathan must know this, or he will be grieved. Yet as surely as the Lord lives, as you live, there is only one step between me and death. And then Jonathan said, whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you. So David said, look, tomorrow is the new moon feast, and I'm supposed to dine with the king. But but let me go and hide in the field until the evening of the day after tomorrow. And if your father misses me and all, tell him David earnestly asked permission to hurry to Bethlehem, which is the house of bread, his hometown, because the annual sacrifice is being made there for his whole clan. And if he says, very well, then your servant is safe. But if he loses his temper, you can be sure that he is determined to harm me. And as for you, show kindness to your servant, for you have brought him into a covenant with you before the Lord. And if I am guilty, then kill me yourself. Why hand me over to your father? So he said, if I have to be killed, and this is what Saul is going to do, you know what? I want you to do it because I knew you do it not because you want me dead, but because you had no other option. Never, Jonathan said, never. If I had the least inkling that my father was determined to harm you, wouldn't I tell you? And David asked, who will tell me if your father answers you harshly? Come, Jonathan said, let's go out into the field. And so they went out to the field together. And Jonathan said to David, I swear by the Lord Elohim of Israel that I will surely sound out my father by the time of day after tomorrow. And if he favorably dispose you, I will send you a word and let you know. But if my father intends to harm you, may the Lord deal with Jonathan, be it ever so severely, if I don't let you know and send you away in peace. And may the Lord be with you as he has been with my father. But show unfailing kindness like the Lord's kindness as long as I live. That means don't kill me if you have to come back. And if I must be killed, then you do it. And do not ever cut off your kindness from my family. And even when the Lord has cut off every one of David's enemies from the earth, do not come against my family. So Jonathan made his covenant with the house of David, saying, may the Lord call David's enemies to account. And Jonathan had David reaffirm his oath of love with him because he loved him as he loved himself. And Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon feast, and you will be missed because your seat will be empty. And the day after tomorrow, toward the evening, go into the place where you hid when this trouble began, and wait at the stone of Ezel. So I will shoot 3 arrows, again, that number of divine completion, into the side of it, as though I was shooting a target. Then I will send a boy and say to him, go find the arrows. And if I say unto him, look, the arrows are on this side of you, bring them here, then come. Because as surely as the Lord lives, you are safe and there is no danger. But if I say unto the boy, look, the arrows are beyond you, then you must go because the Lord has sent you away. And about that matter that we discussed, remember, the Lord is a witness between you and me forever. So this is what happens at the feast. So David hid in the field of for the new moon feast, and the king sat down to eat, and he sat in the customary place by the wall, up opposite Jonathan and Abner, and sat next to Saul. But David's place was empty, and Saul said nothing that day, for he thought something must have happened that uh, David to make him ceremonially unclean. Surely he is unclean. But the next day, the second day of the month, David's place was empty again. And Saul said to his son Jonathan, why hasn't the son of Jesse, who is David, come to meet either yesterday or today? And Jonathan answered, David earnestly asked me for permission to go to Bethlehem, for he said, let me go to the house of my family because they are observing a sacrifice and in the town, and my brother has ordered me to be there. And if I have found favor in his eyes, let me go and see my brother. That is why he has not been coming to the king's table. And so the anger flared upon Jonathan. The anger flared up at Jonathan. Saul's anger flared up against at Jonathan, and he said to him, you son of a perverse and rebellious woman, don't you know that you have sided with the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of your mother who bore you? And as long as The son of Jesse lives on this earth. Neither you nor your kingdom will be established. Now send someone to bring him to me, for he must die. Why should you put him to death? What has he done? Jonathan asked his father. But Saul hurled his spear at him to kill him. Then Jonathan knew that his father intended to kill David. Because if you can throw your spear at me to kill me because of David, then you know he has no problem with killing David. That is something. Once again, when Saul's spirit is so bad that he would kill his own son for speaking up for what is right. And this is what's going to happen in ministry. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. When you get out there and you stand up for what is right, the enemy is going to hurl all kinds of spears at you. He's going to do everything to kill you. He's going to send people for you, whether you're sick, whether you're well. He's going to make sure that you don't find a way to escape. He's going to kill anybody that stands up for what is righteous as opposed to what is right. And he's going to anything that is done to oppose you as the Most High's called and servant. Anyone that stands up on your behalf or the Spirit of the Lord concerning you, your enemy is going to try to take them down, if they're not already doing it. Sometimes our enemies will be the leaders that they'll do things like hurl spears from the pulpit, try to kill you in the congregation, say things to make you be in pain because words hurt more than cuts and bruises. Those heal, but words are not repairable. And the word says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So anytime somebody can speak ill against you, it's because that was in their heart. And the word even says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So is he. And we've been under those Saul ministries. I've been under those Saul ministries quite a few times, just wanting to do what the Lord wanted me to do. And it wasn't even because I knew it was the Lord telling me to do it. It's because I needed peace. And the only way of finding peace was to serve the Lord, or to be in the company of what I thought was the place of the Lord. And trust me, the spirits on one place that I was at was so bad that while I was doing worship service, I went into seizures. And seizures are a spiritual thing. They're a spiritual thing and a mental thing. These spirits seize the spirit and take away your peace and give your mind an overload. Even the Bible speaks of the boy having seizures throwing himself into the fire, the man who has seizures throwing himself into the fire, because it was a spiritual thing that was overtaking his body. And we do not look at that. We look at it medically, but we don't look at it spiritually. And people will do things to make you stress, to make you be overwhelmed, hoping you go into a seizure that can spiritually, mentally, and physically overtake you. But I'm a successor of these things. A successor of these things. I've suffered with them since I was 14 years old. And the Lord still kept me here. And so, as many spirits that try to come against me and try to oppose me and try to break me down and tear me apart and all those different things, the Lord has me covered in ways that the enemy cannot come. The Bible says that they shall come against you one way and flee 7 ways. And then the next time, the demon's going to come back with 7 more demons that were worse than the first. And they're going to flee 7 ways. Then he's going to come back with 7 more demons. And so each time that the Lord is covering me, the enemy got to flee that many more times. That many more times. And in the morning, Jonathan went into the field for his meeting with David. And he had a small boy with him. And he said to the boy, "Run and find the arrows I shoot." And the boy ran, and he shot an arrow beyond him. And when the boy came to the place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen, Jonathan called out after him, "Isn't the arrow beyond you?" That was a signal to David to let him know to run. And then he shouted, "Hurry, go quickly, don't stop." He was actually talking to David. And the boy picked up the arrow and returned to his master. And the boy knew nothing about what Jonathan and David knew. And Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said, "Go carry them back to the town." And after the boy had gone, David got up from the south side of the stone and bowed before Jonathan 3 times. Again, that number of divine completion, with his face to the ground, and they kissed each other and wept together. But David wept the most. Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, my brother, for we have sworn friendship with each other in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord is a witness between me and you, and between your descendants and my descendants forever." And David left, and Jonathan went back to his town. Now, we'll see that later on, we'll see that after Saul was dead, David um, still looked for someone that was part of Saul's family. He said, "Is there no one left from the house of Saul that I might find favor to for Jonathan?" And because he loved Jonathan as he did, and he said that I will take care of his, when he died, no matter what Saul had done to David, because of his love for Jonathan, he asked if there anybody from Saul's house that he could bless because of Jonathan's sake. We must be the people that someone is willing to bless because we are associated. That has to be a great thing. Jonathan had reached a place that his brother David was going to bless anyone from their house because of his genuine love that they had between one another. And if you can be that person, brothers and sisters, wherever you are, that the Lord can bless someone because of who you are, be that person. Be that person. Do not because of who you are. That makes you want to alleviate your family's relationship because of who you are. That'll make you want to despise and go against anybody you know and have lineal blessings, I mean curses, as opposed to lineal blessings because of who you are. And so, yes, we'll see down the line as this persists how David had times and times and times, even though he's on a run from Saul, he's not running because he couldn't kill Saul. He's running because he wouldn't kill Saul, because he said, "This is the Lord's anointed. And because you are the Lord's anointed, I will not raise a hand, as great as a warrior as I am, to kill you." My background is really getting loud, but you know what? Um, my time is pretty much up. I do not have a way for anybody to address or ask any questions, but I do pray that this word has blessed your heart when you are on the run from the Saul in your life, whomever that might be, whether it be your family, your parents, your superiors, your people at work, your leaders in ministry, or whatever like that. You have to understand that the Lord has you covered, and sometimes you just have to get on the run. You have to get on the run. David didn't stand around, even though he was loyal to Saul for his position. He didn't stand around and let Saul kill him, because you cannot be of any use to the Most High dead. And so, if you're going to allow the enemy to kill you, as opposed to allowing the Lord to use you, then you have joined the enemy's club. You have joined the enemy's club. That's spiritual suicide. And And so understand that when there's a time for even those that were meant, David was called to be in Saul's life. He was called to be in Jonathan's life. But the one who he was called to help for that season tried to kill him, and David knew he was called to walk away, to go away. And so understand that when it is your time to leave, you must do just that. You must do just that. And find yourself somewhere that is safe and sacred. The word says, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Do not let the enemy kill you before the Most High can use you. And I'll leave that right there. So once again, my name is Apostle Benjamin Gaines. I'm the pastor of Yahweh's Transitional Church. I thank you again, Sister Minister Larkin, for joining us. For those that will listen at a later time, for those that were not able to be here, let me give a shout out to my sister Evangelist Corley and Deacon Corley, um, to um, Pastor Larkin and his beautiful wife, um, all of you that are listening to my Walking by Faith family, to I Have a Healing family, Kevin Miller, Overseer Kevin Miller and Apostle Michelle Miller, Pastor Tony Smothers. I'm always going to call them out. Um, Craig McDaniels, and all that are part of that assembly. We thank you. We love you, Pastor Dominic Webb. Um, I want to say to I Have a Healing, um, your name speaks for you. Pastor Rick McCall and Pastor Katina McCall, your name says it all. Your name says it all. And we want to bring blessings from Yahweh's Transitional Church to you, you, and you. And I'll end with my three-word benediction: grace, mercy, and peace. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Safe traveling to you both. And I pray that the Lord's hand stay upon you. And I most definitely, I'm going to deem this a good week, a good week. So I'm going to accept that blessing, and I'm going to probably have something I shouldn't eat, and and something I should eat, and try to weigh it out. But thank you again, and thank you both for joining us. And I pray that the Lord keeps blessing you with the word. And come back, come back. Shalom. Yes, ma'am. Grace, mercy, and peace.